Welcome to Pro Talk with the Mighty Oba. We are here today with George Radney from the Challenger Community News. How you doing, George?
Hey, great to be here. Another week 2 already. We're ready to get into week 2 of the NFL season.
Absolutely. And we have a very special guest in studio with us, my buddy, my frat brother, Alex Carrington, former Buffalo Bills standout defensive lineman. Welcome to Pro Talk, my friend.
Dog team, I appreciate it, man. I'm happy to be here. I couldn't be happier, man.
We are glad to have you in the house with us. You have an open invitation to join us whenever you would like. We're going to get talking about the NFL. What were your thoughts on the first week, starting with George?
I thought it was a very interesting week. I thought we had a lot of games that shown that a lot of players were not playing during the preseason, so you had a lot of games where you had it going. It was a little bit fragmented games. But the Monday night games, ironically, were the two best games to me. I thought both of those games were played like we used to seeing regular season games played.
Absolutely. I enjoyed the Monday night games. Alex, you told me you had some fantasy football problems, but hopefully you recover this week. How did you like the first week games?
I think it was a very good first week. Was disappointed by that Steelers and Pats game, being that I had to play Brady,
right.
Twice a year. But I think it was a solid first week, particularly the Bills. It was an ugly win, but it was a win nonetheless. The guys had some stuff to fight through, but they got it done.
How do you do, as far as your preparation for that first game, Alex? You don't have much film on that team. I remember Wade Phillips told me one time the first 3 games of the season are somewhat of a crapshoot in your preparation. How do you guys, is there a lot of in-game adjustments? The Bills came out in a no-huddle offense.
Yeah.
Obviously, it threw the Jets off for a little while, but they made adjustments to it. How do you guys prepare for those first couple of games where you don't have the film?
Stick to your guns. If you don't have a lot of film on them, you stick to your guns and, work out your game plan. And, yes, there are a lot of adjustments, most adjustments during halftime, but definitely on-field adjustments. And going into that first week, the D coordinator, they'll have film from the previous year if it's the same coaching staff, And honestly, I don't know how many people know this, but a lot of offensive plays, the first, 20 plays, they can be scripted. And so you kind of know what you're going to get, but then that's where the adjustment and everything comes in. But as far as team morale, man, it's that's the livest part of the season.
Oh, yeah. How is that first game when you go out there?
It's electrifying, man. It doesn't change from Sunday to Sunday, to be honest. But that first week is, you've been in training camp and OTA seeing the same guys the whole time, and now you get to hit somebody else. You're on TV, you get to show out. It's doing what you love though, and it's hard to compare, man, with anything.
George, in that first game, we were down in MetLife Stadium. It seemed like the Jets fans were somewhat disappointed.
Very much so.
Yeah, these guys were unable to capitalize on four counting. How many games have you seen where you've had 4 turnovers and the team with the turnovers wins the game?
Yeah, it's rare that you have a team lose after getting, and that was the main theme in the Jets locker room. They were just shocked that they lost the game. Over and over, I could hear in the different interviews that was going on in their locker room. Man, we actually have 4 turnovers. We actually got 4 turnovers in the first half, and we couldn't win the game. He said, this is astonishing. They were just in shock that they couldn't figure out how they lost the game.
Alex, they had a bad kicker, too. He's not on the team. And that's he's already gone. So, obviously, his first game showing did not make it at all.
Yeah, he missed a PAT and
a field goal.
A 45-yarder or something like that. Mm-hmm. That would have, possibly sealed the game for him. Yeah. You got to do your job, man. But like he said, it's unheard of. 4 turnovers. When Chan Gailey was here, he had a thing up on the board where he would have wins and losses correlated with turnovers and special teams play. And sure enough, if you had turnovers and if you didn't capitalize on special teams, man, was an L most of the time.
Right.
And it's the NFL, man. You gotta get those points on the board when you can.
Now, George, you went into the Jets locker room.
Yes.
What was the feeling with a team that just did not capitalize on opportunities?
And that's what they were saying. They didn't capitalize. They didn't take advantage of those opportunities. Jamison Crowder, the wide receiver I interviewed, mentioned in his interview that there was communication breakdowns between him and the quarterback, and they got to get that straight. They got to work on that during the week and get it ready for next week, because they felt it was too many breakdowns in communication of where the ball should have been going on various plays throughout. He said we left so many plays out there on the field today.
Now, is that something you would do in preparation for a game like this where you have a new coaching staff, but they're a veteran coaching staff? Would you go back and look at film of what Gregg Williams did with other teams? This is his 9th team. Would you look at film of Adam Gase, what he did with Miami?
Absolutely. That's the main thing that the coordinators do. Look at previous teams and look at patterns. And match that with the personnel that they have now. These coordinators get paid, to do that, and they're very good with it. And Gregg Williams I was fortunate enough to be under him. That's one of the smartest guys I've ever met, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked smart, wicked crazy.
He was a defensive coordinator when you were with the Rams,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. And,
very aggressive style of defense.
Yep. Got to have good corners and a fierce D-line, man.
Is that similar to Rex Ryan? He kind of comes out of that school with Jeff Fisher and Buddy Ryan. Yeah, very aggressive.
46.
Yep, Pettin too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, how'd you like Mike Pettin?
He was cool, man. Mike Pettin, he was real cool. He wasn't a real rah-rah guy. He meant business, but he was very smart, and he paid attention to detail with the personnel that he had. I think that's why he was successful.
You guys led the league in sacks with him, 2 years in a row.
Yep, and it was basically the same defense as Rex with a few tweaks.
That's what I
they were saying when he was here.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's just a matter of, like I said, paying attention to detail with the personnel that you have on hand. You got $1 million players making their money getting sacks. You don't drop them in the coverage.
Right, and I think that's why him and Rex broke up and decided to finally split off, because Pettin realized whatever you just said it, Alex, whatever your personnel is, you work with your personnel, not with your system. Say, hey, this personnel is much better at doing this than doing that, so I'm going to go with, even though I may like to do the other factor, I'm going to have these guys do this, because it's funny you mentioned his name. I've never seen Green Bay's defense play as aggressive and strong as they played in their opening game against Chicago last Thursday night. They look, and then when I saw who the defense coordinator was, I said, "Oh, no wonder." I said, "This guy, he can go and take whatever he could take." And like when he was with Buffalo, I was saying then he could take the Buffalo defense and beat Miami or beat whoever his opponent is, and then he could jump over and take the opponent's defense and beat the Buffalo team. Because he's just that type of guy that he goes with what works best for that personnel.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, Alex, said through the course of the first week there were good and bad type of games. There were some good games, but there were some bad games. Why were teams, it just didn't seem like they were ready to play? One game was definitely Buffalo and the New York Jets. There were some things that normally you're not going to see two pro teams do on a football field on both sides of the field as far as the Jets and the Bills. Why do you think they weren't ready to play, or was there something they were doing on both sides, to throw each other off?
There was definitely a little bit of that, but it's week one, and not to disregard it or anything like that. You still got to handle business, but teams are still working on their chemistry. You have OTAs and training camp where you're fighting each other and maybe a couple other teams, but it's different when things are really going. When the bullets start flying and things are live, you got to have timing and guys cohesiveness. But you look at the different units though. Offenses that weren't used to working together, they struggled. Defenses that were used to working together, they did well, and vice versa.
Were you impressed with the Bills' defense?
I was, man. I was. They played hard. They hit. They were aggressive. They beat up on the guys. You know, they was getting sacks, and eventually, if you're on the field too long without any help, you know, you're gonna give up some stuff. But I think those boys played lights out, man.
Well, George, we discussed a little bit of the Bills' no huddle. They did move the ball, but the drawback of the no huddle is if you don't score, you hurt your defense. You're right back out there, right?
Or turn the ball over.
Right.
Yep.
You get and you saw that early in the game. I thought the Bills' defense was on the field quite a bit in that first quarter.
And they didn't run the football, Alex.
No.
First 18 plays were pass plays.
Yep. Quick plays. I guess it was trying to build momentum. Like you said, if that doesn't work out, man, that can bite you.
Absolutely. Tell me something too. How do you begin your preparation for that week? What are the things that Alex Carrington used to do in his preparation to make sure that he was on point as far as the game plan and physically?
A lot of visualization, watching a lot of film, basically, and knowing where I was supposed to be, where the guys beside me were going to be, and making sure I felt comfortable in that role. We mentioned Mike Pettin. He gave us the freedom, man. If we didn't like a play, we could throw it out for the week. And that was one of my favorite things about playing is, you know, that's how you build cohesiveness. Because, you know, being out there, you only get one shot. So watching film, making sure I'm eating right and hydrating, taking care of my body, treatment if I need it. But the main thing is repetition and being comfortable with the game plan.
George, what do you think the Miami Dolphins are thinking this week after being blown off the map by the Baltimore Ravens? And I guess I'll have a follow-up with Alex after.
Right,
how do you deal with the game after a blowout? I mean,
well,
how do you get yourself back?
Their head coach, Brian Flores, coming from New England, coming from the top, and now all of a sudden he's gone to the bottom real quick. He's going to have to coach his guys up. He knows New England. He knows their formations. He knows their snap counts. Remember now, he did almost every job from 2003 all the way up until now with New England, so he knows them inside out. So it's going to be interesting to see how his players go, and they're going to know that because they believe in him, and they're going to be able to go by what Brian Flores and his coaches are telling them about what to look for when Brady does this, different things with the snap count, with the center, the whole 9 yards. So it's going to be an interesting chess match that's going to make this game a lot closer than right now. They got it at 18 points. I think that game is going to be a lot closer than 18 points because remember, New England traditionally loses to Miami in Miami. For some reason, they just go down there and they just don't play well. They just lose. They end up losing to them each year, no matter what the spread's been. So it's going to be hard for New England to lose this one.
They had that trick play last year. They lost.
That's right. That was a trick. That's right. See, they came up with that trick play.
Gronkowski couldn't make the tackle on the end of that. So how do you come back from that, Alex?
A blowout?
Yeah.
Man, if you got any backbone, you don't like getting hit in the mouth like that, man.
No.
And you bounce back. You
gotta have
learn
a short
from your
memory.
mistakes is the main thing. Yeah, the taste of that loss is still in your mouth, but never make the same mistake twice, man, and come back and be physical.
For us, it's awful. After a win, it's easy to ask you guys questions, but after a loss,
Nobody want to talk?
Right.
Can I get a quick minute?
Yeah. That's where it was in the Jets locker room, man. Those guys were ready to go. They will get treatment and leave, man. That's what time it was in there.
Yeah.
Did you ever like playing? Tonight we've got the Buccaneers and the Panthers. Did you like playing on Thursday night at all?
I always loved playing, but that was my least favorite time to play. I'll say that. Just because it's a short turnaround, and you come from a Sunday game and you still sore basically going into this Thursday game. Less time to prepare and watch film. That week you'll probably do a couple of practices with shorts, shoulder pads maybe. But it's I don't know. It's kind of annoying, honestly.
How do you get yourself? I mean, mentally, I know you can absorb the game plan, know what you got to do, but physically, this sport is so physical and it beats you up so bad on Sunday. physically you're just not going to be there Thursday. How do you get yourself physically able to perform at a very high level?
Iced up. Iced up. A lot of treatment. A lot of stretching. Eating right, and hydration is very key. I'll say that a lot because you're only at 100% at one point in the season, and that's day one of training camp. And those quick turnarounds, they can beat you up mentally, but after that, you can look forward to a good chunk of time off. But you're right, man. It's you just brought back some bad memories.
Yeah. I have never been able. We've gone to several Thursday night games in different places covering you guys, and to me it's just different. It's a different game. It's like you guys got to dig deep. I know once things are going good during the game, that adrenaline kind of takes over a little bit, but physically, how can you even, perform at such a high level?
You just have to. Job security.
Right.
And backbone. Like, you don't want to be out there and put bad tape out or, let your team down. It takes good team leaders, a good staff, to get the guys going. You don't always have to motivate professionals. You shouldn't have to.
Right.
But sometimes you need a little push, man, because it can be tough, especially if it's later in the season, with a quick turnaround like that, and your body's already worn down.
Yeah, and the speed of the game seems to start off early, and then it kind of, by halftime, you can start seeing it going down for both teams. And usually one team in that third quarter, you can kind of tell one team has a little bit more stamina than the other, and they tend to take the game at that point or into that early fourth quarter.
Well, how did the Buccaneers and the Panthers, both of them lost Sunday? What is their mindset, Alex? What would be your mindset, both of these teams coming in at 0-1, knowing that one of them is going to be 0-2 at the end of the night?
I think they both going to come in physical. They both going to come in hungry to get that first W in the column. And man, especially the Panthers, being at home, they're coming out guns blazing. I guarantee you.
Ed Oliver, what are your thoughts on him?
I think that kid has a huge upside. He's big and athletic, strong. I was watching him, and he's gonna be good, man. He has Coach Frazier, is gonna be big for somebody like Ed Oliver because he's been around greats, and he knows his capabilities and knows how to use them. Like, you take somebody like J.J. Watt, he was with Coach Phillips.
Right.
And you talk about somebody that knows how to use their players. He put people in positions to be successful. And I think that's part of the success of the Bills defense with Coach Frazier calling the shots is, if you want something done, put that guy there. If you want this done, put that guy there. And I think that'll be key for Ed.
Yeah, the thing that impressed me with Ed, talking to him in the locker room after the game Sunday, he said that he played over 90 plays in Pop Warner in high school ball. He played both offense and defense in hmy school and everything. So I'm used to playing 90 plays a game. And then in college, he played a lot as well. And he said, This is my dream and my life dream to make it in the NFL, and I want to play as much as possible. And he actually said something I never heard before. He said, I wish we were playing tomorrow, man. We playing on the same stadium, right, at the Meadowlands? I said, yeah, you're on this field next Sunday. Man, I wish it was tomorrow. I said, wow. And I never heard a player say that he wanted to play the very next day.
Well, I like optimism, but
you're saying wait till he gets some of these bad aches and pains.
Yeah, pump your brakes there, man. just wait, man.
But his energy
did.
He did. From the first quarter, he got stronger to me in the fourth quarter than he was in the earlier part of the game. He still was coming at the same energy that he had back in the first quarter.
Yeah, and that's a great sign. But I'm saying, I'm just saying, just hold on a little bit. man, and take care of your body. Marcel had energy like that too.
Oh yeah, okay.
He was. I don't know. That's a different breed, man. When Marcel first got drafted, they said he was like a Bruce Smith and a Warren Sapp body.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see that every day. I was like, wow, I can't wait to meet this guy. And then I saw it, and I was like, and he got feet like a running back,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But it's good to if Ed can carry that energy on and grow into a role as a leader on the team, that'll definitely be contagious.
Exactly.
Jerry Hughes also.
Yeah, unassumingly athletic and strong. Seeing how the ways he beats some guys, yeah, absolutely. I was surprised he wasn't a captain actually, but congrats to Jerry on the contract, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well deserved.
Great guy.
Let me ask you this: now he's had some penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Does he play? Well, I know you all have to play at that. Sometimes you just
higher level.
What?
Sometimes Jerry gets to it. You're playing at that very high level.
Hot-headed?
Yeah.
Yeah, you fighting every play.
Yeah, every play.
It's a fight. Yeah, you're gonna get some penalties, man. Because it's a lot of stuff people don't see. A lot of things are said.
Right.
And yeah, you got to keep your composure, but
and it's holding every play.
Every single play.
Every single
play. I got a son playing high school football, and he was complaining to me the other day. This kid holding me every play. I was like, I don't even want to hear it, man.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Get used to it. But yeah, man, Jerry, he get mad, but all right.
You want him to play at that
you
level.
you don't want a nice guy.
Now, do you sometimes, when you were getting held, did you go tell the ref, hey, could you keep an eye on it?
Yeah, sometimes. Most of the times with the refs, it was like dirty stuff. O-lineman picking people off around the pile or shooting at your knees. But it's you hear the term, it's a game within a game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always trash talk. It's stuff like, if this guy does something dirty, I might catch him in his neck the next.
Right.
You gotta send a message, man.
It's real. Yeah.
Catch him in the neck the next play or something. Just to let them know, like, all right, hit him in the mouth and stuff like that, man. You just can't take crap.
Now, I got a technique question for you.
All right.
I know you were DN, you played inside and outside. I had noticed, George and I were talking about it Sunday, sometimes Deion Dawkins, he has a very strong kick out. And he got beat on an inside move. Mm-hmm. Is that something you would study on film as far as knowing that he's going to kick strong out and take him inside? That was the play, it forced a fumble,
Forced
right?
the fumble.
Yeah,
Josh
forced
Allen
a fumble
ended
on
up fumbling,
that play.
yes.
Yeah, and you'll know at times from watching film that a guy's going to do something like that because they'll stand differently. They'll shift their weight differently. Maybe their head is looking somewhere else or down in distance. It's the little nuances is what makes the NFL so great. That's what makes the game so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's film study. You watch a guy like Ray Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
When he sees something coming, it's right now. It's right now, and I'm coming with bad intentions. So yeah, it's stuff like that we definitely pick up on like early in the week in practice.
Now, the guys in the booth, what would they do? They'd radio down to the offensive line coach, whoever's on the field, like, hey, man, if it's an in-game adjustment, you got to watch yourself on that. You just got beat. That guy knew that you were kicking out strong on your kick-out move.
On the offensive side, I'm not too sure. Defensively, you're going to hear about it. Mm-hmm. Either if you got that kind of team where your teammates can get on you and, correct you, or you get to the sideline and the coach chew you out. But, yeah, somebody will let them know. And already, giving up something like that, you already feel bad. You don't want to beat the guy down to keep his morale up. But, yeah, it'll be corrected.
Mm. Now we're down to 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Here we go.
Okay. What is your favorite game of the week? Look at the list. Which one is your game of the week, Alex?
Rams and Saints.
Rams and Saints? Who are you picking?
I got the Rams.
You got the Rams.
I got the Rams.
George?
I love the Saints in this one.
I love
And take the over.
Take the over.
If you're spending any money on this game, go with the over.
I learned my lesson on that, man.
I'm an over guy. I love the over, man.
Rams and Saints seems to be the game of the week.
There's a lot of good ones. Vikings at Packers.
Vikings-Packers is a pretty good game.
I'd love to see Pettine's defense, see what he can do against the Vikings this week.
I know it, man. I love you, Mike, but I'm taking Minnesota in that game. I'm taking Minnesota.
How about Broncos-Bears?
Broncos,
Khalil
Bears.
Mack
I'm going
against
with the
Von
Bears.
Miller.
I'm gonna go with the Bears. I'm a big fan of Khalil Mack, man.
He's a beast.
How does he walk away from Oakland?
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
How do
right. And then you bring in
Gave
guys
him a
that don't want to
gift.
be there.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper, another
Yep.
good locker room guy, good player.
Yep.
And you bring in guys that don't even want to be there.
Why do coaches sometimes they go overkill on bringing in their own guys when you already have a lot of talent here? You were lucky. Coaches, whatever coaching changes were made, they recognized that you were a tremendous player, and you were always brought over. It didn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen all the time.
There's a lot of turnover. I don't know what goes through these guys' head. Wishful thinking, maybe.
Right.
Because you never know with bringing in a new guy. There's always differences in chemistry.
Why isn't that? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Well, we're down to our last minute. I've got to make sure that everybody knows Pro Talk right here on cable and heard on podcasts all over the country. I want to thank George Radney from the Challenger for being with me here again, and my good friend and frat brother, Alex Carrington. You got an open door here. You come here anytime you want.
I appreciate it, man.
You'll
see me again.
If you want to be a regular, we'll talk about it. Because, frat is always welcome in the house. And we are members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Here we go again.
We'll see you next week right here on Pro Talk with the Mighty Oba. Thanks for being with me here again. We'll see you next week.